a scary episode of the Peppa Pig cartoon series that never aired on TV. The Lost series, yesterday. Peppa wakes up. The sun is shining. Mummy Pig calls her down for breakfast. We're going to have a fun day, she says. We're visiting Granny and Grandpa Pig. Peppa smiles and calls for George. Everything feels normal. They go out, visit the grandparents, draw pictures, have dinner. That night, Peppa gets into bed and says, "What a lovely day." The next day, Peppa wakes up again. The sun is in the exact same spot. The birds sound the same. Mummy Pig repeats the same words. We're visiting Granny and Grandpa Pig. Peppa frowns. But we already went yesterday. No, Peppa, Mummy Pig says, smiling. That was today. The loop, everything repeats. The same words, the same events, the same clouds, the same joke from Daddy. Even George says the exact same thing at the exact same moment. Peppa checks the calendar. It always shows the same date. She tries to draw something different, but when she looks back, the drawing has changed into the one from yesterday. She wakes up again and again. One morning, she runs to Daddy Pig in panic. Everything is repeating. We've already done this. We've already been there. Daddy Pig slowly turns to her. Who told you that? He asks quietly. Who said you're allowed to remember? Things disappear with each new day. The house changes. Furniture disappears. Paintings vanish from the walls. Windows no longer open. George stops speaking. He just stands at the wall, drawing a circle. Every day, the same circle. Peppa no longer hears birds. She can't smell food. When she looks in the mirror, her reflection appears late. One morning, Peppa wakes up. No one calls her. No mummy, no daddy, no George. She walks through the empty house. On the floor, her old drawing. It shows the house, alone, and one line written beneath it, I stayed yesterday. The screen fades to black. A black and white shot of Peppa's room appears. The bed is empty.
The scariest episode of the Peppa Pig cartoon series that never aired on TV, Sir Shepherd. Peppa, George, Susie, and Danny are playing on the swings. The sun is shining. Everything is as usual. Suddenly, clouds begin to gather in the sky, and from behind the trees appears a tall gray boar wearing an old-fashioned hat and a worn-out vest. Sir Shepherd, in a calm, muffled voice. "Hello, children. I'm Sir Shepherd. Would you like to see a forgotten place where your parents used to play?" The children nod with curiosity. The boar leads them down a path into the forest. The farther they go, the darker it becomes. Their footsteps are muffled by moss, and the air grows colder. Tree branches creak. George clutches Peppa's hand. He's scared. Suddenly, they arrive at a strange playground. Everything is rusted. The swings creak without wind. Dirty paw prints stain the slide. On the sand lie old, half-rotted toys. Time has stopped here. This is where play never ends. As the children start playing, things turn odd. Laughter sounds slow and distorted. Susie runs, but her legs sink into the sand. Danny disappears behind the swings and doesn't return. Peppa calls for him, but only hears a whisper in reply. Don't interrupt his play. George looks toward the forest. Eyes flicker in the bushes. Dozens of eyes. Peppa grabs George's hand and calls for Susie. But instead, a figure comes out from behind the broken slide. It looks like Susie, but with empty eyes and a strange grin. Her footsteps make no sound. Sir Shepherd stands aside. His eyes glow pale green. He speaks. Sir Shepherd. Some play forever. Others forget how to leave. It's too late to choose. Peppa remembers a drawing they made that morning. There was a path in it. She realizes the way out is where the heart-shaped stone was. Throwing a glance back, she pulls George, and they run. Sir Shepherd doesn't follow. He simply says quietly, "Everything comes back. Here." Peppa and George appear again at the normal playground. The sun is shining. Susie and Danny are there too, smiling as if nothing happened. Peppa looks toward the forest. In the distance, between the trees, Sir Shepherd's figure. He tips his hat and slowly fades into the shadows. Title screen. End of episode. Peppa's Forgotten Walk. The Forest Whispers. One day, Peppa and her friends set out for a walk in the dark forest that began just beyond an old wooden gate, warped and splintered with age. It had always seemed mysterious, but today, something about it felt inviting. No one remembered who suggested going there. It was as if the idea appeared in everyone's head at once. At first, it was all innocent fun. Peppa giggled, George collected pine cones, Susie built a magic circle out of sticks, and Danny Dog told scary stories. They found a clearing full of mushrooms, strange ones, blue, almost like they'd been painted. Trees creaked even though the air was still. Then, a sound, quiet but heavy, like something breathing just behind them, unseen. Peppa froze, a rustle, another. Leaves fell from motionless branches. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. "It's just the wind," Pedro muttered. But wind doesn't growl. The sound came again, low, wet, and with a wheezing edge. George whimpered and clutched her hand. Eyes appeared behind the bushes. Red, not reflecting light, glowing on their own. "It's a monster," Rebecca screamed, and in that instant the forest woke up. A boar, but not like any they'd ever seen. Its fur was black as ash. Its mouth hung open with a long, dripping tongue like a snake's. It didn't run. It tracked them, moving as if it already knew where they'd go. Peppa ran, hearing the screams of her friends. Someone fell, someone cried out, then silence. She was alone, except for the boar's heavy breath, right behind her. She tripped. Her backpack, where? She fumbled in the dark, fingers closing around her toy flashlight. Click. The beam lit up the beast's eyes. It stopped, hissed, and then it laughed. Yes, laughter. Low, broken, like someone else was speaking through it. It lunged, and Daddy Pig burst from the darkness, swinging a burning branch. The boar recoiled but didn't flee. It withdrew, never blinking. Then it vanished into the fog. Peppa didn't sleep that night. The next morning, the sun was shining. Everything seemed normal. But in the yard, fresh hoofprints in the dirt, and in the bushes, an eye, red, watching.